Morning, Steve Ray in Chicago with the morning grain comments. Well, it's Thursday. We get export sales. It's also one of those special days in the month when the USDA puts out our crop report. Let's first talk about the crop report. The average trade guess for the corn crop is around 13.7 billion bushels. The government was using a number around 13.8. Carry out anywhere from 1650 to 1780 versus 2190. So we'll see what the USDA has to say about corn acres, and we'll have to see what they say about the yield. Most of the market's looking for a little bit lower crop. As far as the beans, the average guess is a little under 3.6 billion. The government was a little over 3.6 billion in September, and the carryout somewhere between 490 and 520, and the government's at 640. So we'll see what they say, how the market reacts to whatever the number USDA puts out. And the carryout for wheat's probably unchanged around that 14 million bushel number, so that wheat will probably follow the corn and bean market on that reaction. We also have export sales, wheat 300 to 600,000 tons versus 328 last week, corn 500 to 800 versus 560 last week, and beans could be over 1 million tons versus 2 million tons last week. The next thing is the trade issues. Overnight, the world financial markets were weaker because South China Morning Post reported that the delegation might cut their Chinese delegation might cut their visit to the United States a day earlier. They said that the media offered that the divide was wide between both parties and no progress was really scored on the forced IT transfers and China's subsidy of state-run firms. There could be a partial deal. The U.S. is going to increase tariffs on $250 billion of Chinese goods October 15th, and then add tariffs on December 15th. And the Chinese had offered to buy 30 million tons of U.S. beans, some pork, and as trying to get some kind of partial deal and try to get the U.S. not to raise the tariffs. So anyway, we'll be kind of watching pretty closely and see if there's any news out of that. For now, the odds of us getting a partial deal might be relatively low. As far as weather is concerned, we're watching the snow that's moving across western Dakotas. It could be for North Dakota, 4 to 18 inches of snow. That's lower than what we feared. Also, the scope of the storm is not as bad as it was a couple of days ago, but we could see the Midwest, parts of the northern Midwest see freezing temperatures that could end the crop year for crops in the Dakotas, Minnesota, and possibly parts of northern Iowa. Right now, by Sunday, we could see 70, maybe 74% of the U.S. corn crop is mature, with 95% of it dropping leaves. So we'll see if we lose any production because of that. South American weather continues to be good rains in Argentina, southern Brazil, but dry across northern Brazil. As far as the funds are concerned, going into this report, going into all this uncertainty as far as trade deal, going into the weather, funds right now, we estimate them to be short about 20,000 Chicago wheat, 112,000 corn, and long a small amount of 4,000 beans. So again, my thought process is that this should be a friendly report. Market might react to it. Let's say we're up 20 cents in beans and 10 cents in corn and wheat. Farmers should be looking to sell some inventory at those price levels, especially if U.S. weather becomes favorable. South American weather is favorable. We don't have a trade deal, and our export trade numbers continue to be slow. And at the end of the day, next year, U.S. farmers come in and plant a record amount of corn in a normal crop year. Everything goes up as far as carryouts are concerned. So put some orders in, sell a little bit in case we have a bullish rally because of today's USDA numbers. We'll be back at 11 o'clock to put a video and a slant on what the USDA said and how the market reacted. And at that time, we'll be a little smarter than we are right now. As always, these are my thoughts and not those of ADM or ADM Investor Services. Have a safe and profitable trading day.